a moment always the same right before the first incision. It's not fear, not pain. It's the strange stillness. The air stops moving. The room becomes soundless, and in that silence, the bidding begins. But they're not bidding for the organ itself. No, that's not what these people want. They don't want the heart, the lungs, the liver. They want to choose what's taken first. They want to control how it happens, to decide the fate of a living, breathing human being. One cut at a time. And tonight, the person on the table isn't asleep. He's wide awake. If you're watching this, you're not just curious. You're already part of the story. Tap that like button if your pulse is rising, and hit subscribe before someone adds you to the guest list. On the edge of a forgotten industrial zone, past cracked highways and rusted out signs, there's a facility that doesn't appear on any maps. There's no phone signal out here, no satellite pings. If you get close enough, even your car starts acting strange. The electronics flickering as if something is watching, as if the building itself doesn't want to be found, except by those who already know the way. It used to be a trauma center, shut down a decade ago after a fire destroyed half the wing. Officially, it's abandoned. But tonight, inside, the lights are on. The operating room at its heart looks nothing like a normal hospital. The walls are tiled, pristine white, like polished bone. The lighting is red, almost surgical in its precision, casting no shadows. Dozens of small cameras hang from the ceiling on silent, jointed arms, each one moving smoothly, tracking the center of the room. And in the center of the room, there's a single reinforced table. Strapped to that table is lot number 7. They call him Dr. Mercier. No one knows his real name. He wears a mask shaped like a beak long, curved, almost like a plague doctor from centuries ago. The mask filters his voice, giving it a low, mechanical distortion. Once, he was a surgeon, praised in the highest circles. He saved lives with steady hands and an unmatched technique that bordered on artistry. Then, one day, he simply vanished, and now, he sells suffering to the highest bidder on the dark web. But you have to understand, this isn't really about the organs. This is about control, about power. It's a game for people with so much money and so much influence that morality is nothing but background noise. They don't just want a piece of a person. They want to orchestrate their final moments. Suddenly, Dr. Mercier steps into view of the main camera. His coat is spotless white, a stark contrast to the crimson light. The tools are arranged on a sterile tray with surgical precision. Beside him, a tall monitor flickers to life, streaming out 2 dark web servers hidden across the globe. The chat window fills instantly. Thousands are watching, each user anonymous, hidden behind layers of encrypted walls. But their messages come fast, a torrent of depravity. A user named Imperial Vulture writes, $2.5 million. Start with the kidneys. Another, Dulcity K, types, 3 million. Go for the liver. Slowly. Then, Broken Halo 93. 3.6 million. Take Alung. Make him gasp for air. The bidding climbs. Each new offer more specific, more cruel than the last. The camera zooms in on Lot 7's face. He doesn't scream. He can't move, held down by thick leather restraints, but his eyes are wide open. And they're not just afraid. They're watching, studying, waiting. Who is this man? No one knows. He was found with no ID, no records. Picked up from a train station 3 nights ago. He vanished without a trace. No family has come looking. No friends have reported him missing. He's a ghost. Oh, there's something strange about him. Something off. He hasn't blinked since they strapped him to the table. A heart rate monitor beeps softly in the background, but his pulse is steady, unnaturally calm. Even now, as the auction climbs past $4 million and the winning bid is locked in, he doesn't flinch. Dr. Mercier leans close, his beaked mask just inches from the man's face. His distorted voice is a quiet whisper, meant for the microphone pinned to his coat. "This one's special," he says. You can see it in his eyes. He knows what's coming, and he accepts it. But even the doctor, with all his precision and control, doesn't notice. He doesn't see the way Seven's right index finger twitches, just once. A movement so small, it's almost imperceptible. But it moves. Because this man on the table, he's not who they think he is. And he didn't come here by accident. He came here by choice. You've just witnessed the beginning of something darker than anyone on that stream could possibly imagine. In Lot 7, he's not done yet. If you want to see what happens when the victim begins to flip the script, tap that like button and subscribe right now. Because part 2 is where the bidders start to realize they're not as safe as they thought. Last time, we watched a man strapped to a table conscious, paralyzed, and auctioned off to the highest bidder. But lot number 7 isn't just another victim, and tonight, the people bidding on him are about to discover they're not alone behind their screens. If you've found yourself hooked, hit that like button to stay in the game. Subscribe now, because as we go deeper, nobody's safe, not even the ones in control. The stream is alive. Behind thousands of VPNs and firewalls, the bidders watch in real time. Their usernames are Masks Glover, Stylized, Dripping with Arrogance, Bleeding Silk, Phantom Altar, Viceroys, Ashthroat, Nobentai Trace. They're untouchable, or so they believe. Their voices are distorted, their messages encrypted. Each of them thinks they're just one more elite in an exclusive club, trading wealth for the thrill of control. They've bid on hearts and lungs before, watched people go silent under the knife. Some of them even collect the footage, souvenirs. But this time, something's different. Lot 7 hasn't screamed, not once. Even now, as the winning bid is confirmed, a staggering $5.2 million, the countdown begins to the first procedure. The man on the table stares directly into the camera. It's subtle, but the regulars in the chat notice. Phantom Altar messages. Why is he looking right at us? Viceroys replies. That's not possible. He shouldn't even know we exist. Ashthroat 93 types. In a panic, zoom out, Dr. Mercia doesn't respond. He's prepping his tools. Focused. He doesn't see what the viewers see. On the monitor beside the stream, a new message flashes. Hello, bidders. At first, they think it's a glit, a prank, some kind of performance arta, new layer of the show, until their screens begin to shift. One by one, usernames disappear from the viewer list. Not logouts, not drops. They're being wiped. Bleeding Silk types. Frantically. What's happening? Viceroys asks. Is this part of the auction? Phantom Altar screams through the chat. My camera just turned on. Then audio starts coming through, not from the stream. Not from Dr. Mercier's feed, but from their own devices. A voice, calm, steady, familiar. It's Lot 7's voice. You like control, don't you? Choosing who suffers. Playing God. But let me ask you something. What happens when the knife turns around? In the auction room, Dr. Mercia freezes. The vitals on the screen begin to shift. 7's heart rate. It's dropping, then stabilizing, then climbing voluntarily, as if he's controlling it. And then he smiles. Not wide, not theatrical. Just a small, knowing smile like someone watching a long game finally unfold. Mercier stares down at him. You're not sedated anymore. 7 responds with a whisper. No. And neither are they. At that moment, outside viewers lose the stream. Black screen. Signal terminated. But behind the curtain, the bidders aren't watching a stream anymore. They're being watched. Each one in their hidden bunkers, luxury towers, or secured mansions, starts hearing their own breathing echo back through their devices. One bidder reaches for the power. A couple of the lights in their room flicker red. Another opens their laptop to shut it down. The webcam light blinks on. It's too late. Back in the room, Dr. Mercier takes a cautious step back. Lot 7's eyes are locked on him now. You don't know what this is, do you? 7 says, I'll let them see. I let them think they had control. He glances at the cameras. They built a stage, and I took the spotlight. Mercier's hand trembles as he reaches for the emergency injection a paralytic. Seven speaks again. You shouldn't try that. The moment he plunges the syringe into Seven's arm, Mercier's own wrist convulses, muscles locking, syringe dropping. Sparks shoot from the monitor array. Behind the walls, power surges, and Seven, still strapped down, whispers, "Let's see who breaks first." The stream is dead. The auction is over, but the real show has only just begun. Who is Lot 7, and how does he know the names behind the masks? Hit like if you're ready to dig deeper. Tap subscribe because in part 3, the walls close in, and one of the bidders is about to pay in person. The auction ended without a winner. The stream went dark, but one of the bidders didn't log out. One of them decided to show up. Before we go any further, if you're still here, tap the like button and subscribe now, because from this point on, the story stops being digital and starts becoming personal. Not all of the bidders scream. Not all of them panic when their screens go black or when their devices turn against them. One of them simply his username was Viceroy's, off the network. He's known as Elliot Cade, a man who made his fortune in private security contracts, offshore data centers, and risk management for people who don't exist on paper. When the stream cuts, Elliot doesn't shout. He doesn't unplug anything. He just leans back in his leather chair and a slow, calculating smile spreads across his face. Interesting, he mutters to himself, because unlike the others, Elliot recognizes the signs. The absolute precision, the timing, the elegant way the breach unfolded, layer by layer. This wasn't just some random chaos. This was intentional. This was art. Back at the facility, the underground operating room is quiet now. Too quiet. The only sound is the soft hum of the emergency lights. Half the cameras are dead. The rest are completely useless, pointing at the ceiling like broken, unseeing eyes. Dr. Mercier nervously backs away from the table. Lot 7 is still restrained, still impossibly calm. You don't understand what you've done, Mercier says, his voice shaking despite the electronic filter masking it. These people will hunt you. They'll erase you from existence. For the first time, Seven turns his head. Slowly, deliberately. I know, he replies, his voice level. That's why I invited one. Mercier freezes, the blood draining from his face. Invited. Seven's eyes flick to a monitor that's still flickering with a weak signal. A single line of text appears. Incoming location confirmed. Merciela's breath hitches in his throat. No, he whispers, the realization dawning on him. Seven smiles again. Not because he's free, but because the trap is working perfectly. 2 hours later, a sleek, black vehicle rolls to a silent stop outside the abandoned facility. No sirens, no backup, just one man, stepping out into the oppressive dark. Elliot Cade adjusts his gloves and studies the building. It's an old hospital, its doors sealed, no visible power running to it, but he knows better. He knows what's hidden beneath the surface. Inside, Mercier hears the outer gate unlock itself. There are no alarms, no sounds of forced entry, just a clean, deliberate access breach, a digital ghost walking through walls. In the operating room, Seven closes his eyes and exhales slowly, as if centering himself for what's to come. He's here, he says, almost to himself. Mercier finally snaps. You planned this. You used me. Seven opens his eyes, a glint of steel in them. No, you used yourself. I just gave you an audience. Elliot walks the decaying halls, like he owns them. He passes old forgotten patient rooms, tiles still stained with faded blood, and piles of discarded medical equipment. He's seen far worse in his line of work. When he finally enters the operating room, he stops. Dr. Mercier stands frozen near the wall, a statue of pure fear. And on the table, Lot 7 lies restrained, unarmed, and completely exposed. Elliot lets out a sharp, almost amused exhale. So, you're the problem. Seven looks directly at him, his gaze unflinching. And you're the one who came in person? Elliot actually chuckles. A low, dangerous sound. I don't like loose ends. And I don't like being embarrassed in front of my associates. He steps closer, circling the table like a predator. You cost some very powerful people a lot of money tonight. Seven just nods. That was the idea. Elliot continues his slow circle around the table. You know, he says, his voice conversational. Most people in your position beg, or they threaten, or they cry. Seven doesn't react at all. He just watches. So here's how this ends. Elliot continues, his tone hardening. I take you apart, piece by piece. Find out exactly how you did what you did, and then I sell what's left to the highest bidder. Seven finally speaks again, his voice echoing in the quiet room. You already lost. Elliot stops dead in his tracks. Explain. Explain. Seven's finger twitches. Just a tiny, almost imperceptible movement. But this time, Elliot notices it. Suddenly, the lights flicker violently. The restraints on the table hiss and tighten, but not around Seven's wrists. They snap shut around Mercier's. Mercier screams as the heavy metal clamps dig into his arms, pinning him to the wall. What did you do? Elliot demands, spinning around. Seven's voice remains completely calm. You came here to collect, he says. But this place, it doesn't belong to you anymore. Baned Elliot, the heavy steel doors to the operating room slam shut and lock with a deafening finality. And for the first time since he arrived, for the first time in a very, very long time, Elliot Cade feels something entirely unfamiliar. Uncertainty. One bidder showed up, and now he's trapped inside the very system he paid to control. What happens when the collector becomes the inventory? Hit that like button if you're ready for the final chapter, and subscribe now, because in part 4, the auction returns. But this time Lot 7 is the one taking bids. The collector is trapped. The doctor is restrained, and the man they once called Lot 7 is no longer on the table. Welcome to the final round. But this time the auction is his. Before we begin the last incision, tap that like button and subscribe if your heart's still beating. Because once this chapter opens, it doesn't close cleanly. The lights return to full power, flooding the room in sterile white. The cameras reactivate. All of them, one by one, robotic arms swiveled toward a new target, Elliot Cade. Dr. Mercier thrashes in his new restraints, his eyes wide with a terror he's only ever inflicted. I didn't agree to this. You said this was for them. His voice is a panicked shriek. Seven now stands beside the table, completely free of all straps. He's calm, composed, his voice steady as a surgeon's hand. It was for them, he says, until they stopped watching. He steps past the trembling doctor and approaches the massive wall of monitors. Dozens of screens flicker to life, but instead of the anonymous usernames, the displays now show faces. Not hidden, not mass kid, real identities. Every single bidder, every voice that had been hiding behind the safety of the chat, exposed. Every last one of them. The silence in the room is broken by Elliot's strained voice. You've made your point. You're not the prey. Fine. But what's your endgame? Revenge. Seven turns from the wall of faces and shakes his head slowly. Not revenge, he replies. Resolution. He gestures toward the screens, a silent conductor orchestrating this nightmare symphony. I sent them a new invitation, a live one. In darkened rooms all around the world, the original bidders are back online. They stare at their screens, drawn in by a notification they couldn't ignore. But this time is different. They can't type. They can't bid. Their keyboards are dead. Their power is gone. They can only watch. Each of them sees the feed in perfect, horrifying clarity. Elliot Cade, the collector, standing like a prized animal in a trap. Dr. Mercer, the butcher, trembling and locked to his own operating table. And Lot 7, walking freely, adjusting the cameras, arranging the gleaming surgical tools with an unnerving precision. The chat box is frozen. No more witty, cruel comments from Ashtroth 93. No more decadent commands from Dulcidic. No more philosophical justifications from Imperial Vault. Their microphones are on. Their cameras are on. All of their control is gone. They are no longer the audience. They are part of the exhibit. 7 positions himself between Elliot and Mercia, a figure of absolute authority in this chamber of horrors. He looks directly into the primary camera, addressing the hidden elite who thought they were untouchable. Speaking to them in their homes, in their offices, in their safe spaces, now rendered transparent. "I was your product," he says, his voice devoid of emotion, a cold, hard fact. "Your Lot 7. A number, a piece of meat, something to carve, to buy, to own." He turns to the main control panel and presses a single, glowing button. A large red countdown appears on all their screens, a digital hourglass draining away the final moments of their anonymity. Bidding opens in 60 seconds. "I'm offering one final auction," 7 announces to his captive audience. "A special lot. Very rare. Only one available." He points a single finger at the trapped collector. Lot number 8. Elliot lunges forward, a snarl of defiance on his face, but the automated restraints slam into place, cuffing his wrists and ankles with a brutal, metallic clang. "I'm not afraid of you," he spits, his voice a mixture of rage and terror. 7 leans in close, his whisper captured perfectly by the nearest microphone, a chilling secret shared with the world. "You're not supposed to be afraid. You're supposed to feel." The countdown hits 0. All across the world, the stream hits maximum clarity. Lot 8, restrained, conscious, breathing. Dr. Mercia, sobbing uncontrollably in the corner. A broken man. And 7, the former victim, holding a scalpel that glints under the sterile lights. The bids come in faster than ever before, but these aren't bids of money. These are messages, demands. They're bidding with ideas. The system registers them as prices, but the intent is clear. Observer 00, $10 million. Start with the hand that clicked confirm bid. No fuss required. 14 million. Take the tongue. Let him try to explain this. Bleeding silk. 21 million. Slice the mask. Let the monster see himself. The numbers are irrelevant now. The money means nothing. This audience isn't bidding for control anymore. They're bidding for a twisted sense of closure, for payback, for entertainment, for the grim satisfaction of seeing this circle finally, brutally, completed. They are consuming one of their own. Silence falls in the room. The bidding stops. A final, astronomical figure hangs on the screen. 7 doesn't flinch. He doesn't speak. He just raises the scalpel, and the screen fades to pitch black. We don't hear a scream. We just hear a sound. The sound of clapping. Slow, rhythmic, digital. A standing ovation from the very people who paid to see others suffer. Now they have watched one of their own go under the knife, and they didn't look away. The final lot has been processed. The auction is over. The bidder became the merchandise, and the victim became the host. If you watched all the way through, then maybe you're not so different from them after all. Like this video if you made it to the final cut. Subscribe if you're ready for the next chapter, because every system eventually breaks from the inside.